The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. I've posted the chart for the DAX index, and I've also posted the weekly. This comes from one of our good friends across the pond. And as you can see, folks, we have completed a very, very large ABCD pattern in the DAX. And if you remember the chart that we did on the Hang Seng, that it was, doing the same type of thing, only with a head and shoulders pattern. So some of these overseas markets are beginning to look a tiny bit toppy also. Now, today at the break, we're going to have Paula Webb Douglas is going to be my guest. And she's going to be talking about carrying on the torch for Mark. And then also we're going to have her on during my segment of Basil's show, the last half hour or two. And we'll see if she'll give us some great information as we always do. There's so many stories that we have together that could take a week. But we were laughing about it yesterday when we were talking about doing the show, some of the things that happened to us. Now, we have a question from one of our favorite folks across the pond over here, and he asked a very interesting question, and that is, how do you know when all of these things come together, and where do you put your order? Well, the $64 question is easy to answer, and that is you never know for 100%. That's never going to happen. There's just no way that can happen. But what I look for and what I think is, the absolute cat's meow of a trade is when you have at least three ratios coming together along with a pattern. Now, if we use the December wheat that we talked about last week and also at the beginning of the week, you'll notice that we had that head and shoulders pattern. It was nearly perfectly symmetrical from shoulder to shoulder. The right shoulder was 78% of the top that was made in February. You'll notice that there were three ratios there. There was a 78% retracement, a 1.27 retracement, and a 1.618 retracement, along with an ABCD pattern. You have five things there, folks, that you could, hang your hat on. So the $64 question is, where do you place your order? When I have five numbers coming together within a penny or two, I'm going there, because that's telling me that roadmap is either going to be right or wrong. And if I do it there, that's going to be my absolute best entry if it's right, and the best entry if it's wrong. And the reason what I mean by that is, if I sell it at 506, which was the number we were looking at, the high was actually, the first 2 days was 509, and then it made a little bit higher high the third day at 510. You don't have to risk more than 5 or 6 cents. That would have kept you in the trade. And now, the wheat is trading down 12 cents from that high, so you've already have a $600 profit in it. And so that's, where you'd be taking your first profit objective. Remember that tomorrow we're going to have a full moon at perigee, and that is where the Earth is as close to the moon that it gets. That is one of the things that sometimes will trigger earthquakes, but not all the time, but many times it does. So if you're going to go long earthquakes, today's the day to do it. Anyway, that's what I would do, is when you have three or four ratios coming together, you just put your order in there and figure out what your risk is going to be. And don't put your risk too small. Like, don't trade for $100 or something like that, $150. Give it a reasonable figure. Figure out what the previous day's range was, and take half of that day's range. So if it was a 10-cent range, take half of that range, and that'll give you, $5. And if you're wrong, those ratios will be breaking, and you'll be out of the trade right away. So that's the key. The only reason that the D-Suite, stayed up there was the fact that we had the situation going on, and we talked about this, and this was the situation that was going on in Minneapolis spring wheat. because that's the one that was having the problem. They were having so much crop problems. And as you'll notice, this is the one from 2 days ago, and it never got any higher than 660. That was a high that it made. It made 658, then it made a higher high the next day by 2 cents, and then sold off dramatically. So now this is a different type of trade than the December wheat, because you only have, two numbers up there. You have the ABCD pattern, and you have the 1.618 expansion. That's a little bit different situation than you have with the wheat trade, because the wheat trade, you have 5 numbers coming together. That are 5 things. You got the head and shoulders pattern, 786, 127, 1.618, and ABCD. So this doesn't have that. So you see the probability of winning on the December wheat was much greater than in the Minneapolis wheat. The only reason I even show Minneapolis wheat is because that's the one that's been pulling the market higher. The December wheat has been, going catch up. By the way, we will be having Rich Anderson's good friend and my friend, Cy Monley, will be on next week. I'm going to set up the date. We're also going to have Shane Smolian coming on next week. So we're going to have a full plate, I believe, of some really great guests tomorrow. You'll really enjoy both these guys, as you well know. Cy has never been on before, and I think you'll enjoy him. He is he really knows the crops, folks. And he was hired by Rich Anderson, I believe, 35 years ago. That was his first job out of college. And so he'll have some stories to tell about Rich, and I'm sure we'll have Rich on next week also, because we've got some crop stuff coming up. And a lot of this stuff will be related to this full moon and perigee. So we want to be watching these grains on Monday. Friday is the day. I don't think it'll be a reversal day, but if it does, that's neither here nor there. The number I'm looking at, of course, is in the November beans is 925. That's where they're trading right now. And I'm going to wait until tomorrow to see if it's going to hold this level, but it's going to be interesting to see if it will do that. Okay, now the next question that someone had was about the Treasury bonds, and the bonds are still in this. Just let's get the chart up here so we can see it again. We're saying the same thing, is no difference day after day. It's the same thing. The Treasury bonds keep going higher. The Treasury notes can't get out of their own way. This, to me, is a very, very bearish phenomenon. I could be reading it wrong, but this is really the main thing for looking at. So that's the main thing. There is no symbol for earthquakes. I don't think they have an earthquake contract, do they? Oh my God! If they do, I'll really feel bad about that. But I know they have one for weather, but I don't think they have one for earthquakes. But who knows? That's neither here nor there. One time in my newsletter, Astro Cycles, in October of 1988, I wrote that we had there was the moon, and it was, I believe, apogee or perigee, and there were several other planets there, Mercury and Venus, and I said this is where you have the highest degree of magnetic pull, and I said it would not be surprising to see an earthquake, and that was the earthquake that they had during the World Series in Oakland, and everybody thought that I had some type of predictive ability of earthquake. That was the only one I ever got right. That was 1988. So don't go betting on earthquakes. 877-927-6648.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile based scanner in the industry, powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Larry takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Okay, folks, I want to switch gears here a little bit, and this will also help answer Pedro's question from the UK, and that is, looking for multiple entry points. This happens to be the hourly chart for silver, and as you'll notice over these last several days, I put a red box insert there because I wanted to show you, what this looks like on a different time frame, because you're looking at 60 minutes, the pattern looks a little bit small. However, if you were to take the pattern and blow it up into a 60-minute chart where you can see it clearly, in other words, just highlight that part, you'll take a look at it and you'll be able to see that it gives you a whole lot of information here. As you can see with that really dark red line that you see there, that's your ABCD pattern extending down to the bottom where your CD leg is 1.27 of the AB leg. And the reason why you expect that is because of the wide move that you had down during the day of the 20th when we dropped from 1665 down to 1635, a $1,500 drop. Then you can see the three drive to a bottom pattern very clearly, and it's very symmetrical from low to low is spot on, and the market since has rallied from 1635 up to the 1660 level. So that's what you try to do, is you look at a macro view and then go down to a micro view to try to find a really good entry point where you don't have to risk an arm and a leg. That's one way that some people, like to do it. And, it doesn't always work that way, but of course, sometimes it does. And just like everything else, it's It's all about pattern recognition and risk control. So keep in mind that's really important. Boys and girls, we've got something on the radar today that really needs our attention, and this is the contract for August crude oil. I'm going to defy human nature here and ask you to do some of this work yourself. But as you can see here, over the last several months, we've been waiting for this ABCD structure to come in. And what we're looking at here is a potential where the last ABC pattern has lined up perfectly. That's a 3-drive pattern. If you really want to get into this stuff and learn a little bit, why don't you count the number of days from the April high to the May low, and then go over from the May high to the June low and see how close they are to being equal. Because if you look at it real closely and do that count, you're going to see that they are equal. So what you have there, you have a situation where you have time and price are equal. Gann referred to that as time and price being squared. Now, if this is correct, we should be very close to a bottom in the crude oil. And as you remember, we had Norm Winsky on recently, and he was telling us that the 22nd, 23rd was a really high probability of some major stuff coming in on the crude oil, as I recall. I had it written down, so I hope I wrote it down correctly, but I'm pretty sure that's what he said. And if Norm, if you're listening, please correct me if I'm wrong. But this is one that you want to keep an eye on because it's got a chance, for some type of a rally. It's been going down since Hector was a pup. So it's pretty easy to understand. Someone's asked me a question about why I believe bonds are so bearish. Let me just share with you. This is something that I've got from the central bank. It's from Bloomberg, but I just want to show you what's been happening over a period of a whole lot of years, about 20 years or so. This is what's been going on with the money supply. The central banks of the U.S., Japan, and Europe, the ECB, England Central Bank, not the ECB. That's European Central Bank. If you'll take a look at this thing has just been a vertical move. Now, how long is it going to last? I don't know, but we're already seeing signs of it in our bond market and in our note market, and as well as the German Bund. So the charts are telling us that there's the drummer that's been taking the folks into the ocean is pretty much run out of drumsticks. So be careful here of being along these bonds. This is my opinion too. You remember I have an opinion sometimes they get you in trouble, but that's the main thing to look at, is that this is the overall view of that, because these are fictitious interest rates. They push these interest rates down because of the too big to fail debacle that we had, after the thing is printing is the name of the game. You got that right, Princess. There's no question about that. But that's what I'm looking at as something that is the real problem in the markets, is not the stock market. It's in the bond markets, and I think that's where the thing. If crude oil goes much lower, a lot of these small oil companies are not going to make it, and all these bonds that they have they're going to be going down to tapioca. So I don't know. Remember, that's just my opinion. I never could understand quantitative easing, and that's it. I will, Mr. Winsky will certainly get back to me, but I was chatting with him last night, and he was telling me that there was something going on here in the crude oil today and tomorrow, as I recall. And believe me, I could be wrong, because I write everything down, but sometimes I write it down wrong. Not often, but once in a while. But we'll keep an eye on it anyway. The pattern is basically the thing I'm watching in the crude oil. I don't know diddly squat about the fundamentals or any of that stuff, but we do have the full moon and we have perigee. That's enough to increase volatility, if nothing else. So keep an eye. Remember, we've been down now for 3 days in the stock market. It really hasn't gone down very much. I would not be surprised to see stocks rally. And whether they rally much, I don't know. But I think longer term, because of that Bradley model, you got to be really careful. Folks, when we talk about these things, you think you know something. One of my favorite little books is The Experts Speak. And let me just show you some of the experts speaking here. This is the one about the telephone from Western Union. The telephone has too many short coverings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. The device is inherently of no value to us. Western Union. Da-da! Not too bright there, huh? Let's take a look at this one here. It was always my favorite. This is from Thomas Watson, folks, of IBM. Can you believe what he said in 1943? I think there is world market for maybe 5 computers. We have 6 in our house. It is a full moon with perigee, Peter. It's a full moon with perigee. Perigee is the Earth as close to the moon as it gets. Okay, and then finally I wanted to do one more that I think everybody would enjoy. And believe me, this is not my trading room when you see this. It's in the morning. It happens in the morning, I believe. There is no reason for any individual to have a computer in his home. This was Ken Olsen, the president, chairman, and founder of Digital Equipment. In 1977, folks, that's only 40 years ago. Give me a break. Anyway, I think this guy must be a crude oil trader with that many monitors. But I only use, I have 2 42-inch monitors, but frankly, I only use one monitor. It's a smaller one. It's easier on my eyes, and I'm not in front of the machine all day long. That drives me crazy. I can't really handle that. I used to years ago when I was learning to understand the markets, and what's dangerous about that is I think I understand them now, so I don't watch them as much. Stay tuned. We're going to have Paula Douglas on at the break, 877-927-6648.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters. In quiet markets, investors search for new trading opportunities. We'd like to introduce you to a new product that provides opportunities even in flat markets. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a new and innovative Chicago-based exchange registered with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their trading platform. Nadex never charges a fee to use their platform, which even includes real-time charts and full customization capability. Nadex's unique short-term binary options allow traders and investors to capitalize on strategies even when the underlying markets are quiet. Nadex's innovation has allowed them to come up with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com, or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, Paula, are you there?
I'm here.
How are you this evening or this morning? And what's the temperature in Palm Springs?
Oh, I think it's only around 99 right now.
Wow, it's
95.
6:30 in the morning. Wow.
Yeah.
How hot did you get yesterday?
We got up to 119.
Wow. Well, it's a dry heat.
Yes.
Oh, Paula, getting ready to have you on as a guest brought back so many memories. I had to call Dougie yesterday. Folks, Dougie is a former floor trader who's a very good friend of Mark and Paul and I. We hung out together all the time. The funniest guy on the face of the earth, isn't he? He just makes you laugh all the time, and he was telling the stories. Paula, one of the most vivid memories that I have, and we have so many of them together. Folks, you don't know this, but Paula actually is an ordained minister. I think it's 16 years now, isn't it, Paula?
Yes, 2000, going on 17 years.
Yeah, 17 years, yeah. And she married Sarah and I at Mark's house up in Scottsdale 10 years ago, believe it or not. And it's hard to believe we're coming up 2 years almost very, very shortly. Anyway, what are you doing now? Tell us what you're doing to carry the torch from Mr. Douglas.
Well, as everyone may know, I know Mark was working on a book when he unexpectedly left us. But what most people don't know is that I literally have a storage locker full of other products that we were going to bring to the market, start producing once we moved back to Chicago, which we were in the process of doing. So there's a lot of material by Mark and I should say, that is yet to come out, and we're pretty excited about it. There's a novel that we wrote together called The Dark Trader, which is obviously about the investment world, and that's pretty interesting. I'm actually jobbing that out to Amazon Studios. They've expressed some interest in maybe making that into a series or a movie. And
I'm available for that movie if you need a star.
No problem. And there's he wrote so much. He was so prolific with his writing that. It's just a matter of me going through his laptops, pulling stuff out that I think is, pertinent to today's market. So there's just a lot of work to be done, but I'm looking forward to doing that. And, of course, just the fact that we did a lot of products together, it's been a little bittersweet for me, I'll be honest with you. I haven't gotten a lot of them out yet just because it was, it was a little too tough. It was a little too tough.
Tell me about it, dear.
Yeah.
How long did you work with Mark over the years? I've known you 30-some years, so how long is it? How long?
Yeah, you met me when I was 5. Yes.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, because I remember you're just turning 35 here on September the 12th, right?
Yes. I'll tell you a funny story. It was the fall of 1984, and I was working as a phone clerk on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange floor while learning how to trade the big boards. Because my experience had begun at the Mid-America Commodity Exchange, which was the first exchange to offer mini contracts. So I worked at the exchange for several years, and then I worked on the trading floor there. And then I got an opportunity to go over to the Merc and learn how to trade the big boards. So one day I was having lunch at the Merc Club, and a guy sat next to me. Turns out we had mutual friends in common. And he said, "Hey, I have a buddy who's looking for a part-time typist." He said, "Are you interested?" And I said, "Sure." He said, "All right, well, let's meet at the end of the markets, and I'll take you over to his office." I said, "Great." So about 3 o'clock, we met in the lobby, and we jumped in a cab, and we went down Michigan Avenue, and we came to 444 North Michigan Avenue. Now, it wasn't that impressive of a building on the outside, but when you walked inside, there was probably a 2-story lobby, and just, oak paneled, and just floor-to-ceiling windows and a spiraled staircase that went up 2 or 3 floors. It was just wildly impressive. We walked through the door, and she says, "Oh, Mr. B, Mr. Douglas is waiting for you." And she buzzes us through a secure door. So we're walking down this hallway, passing office after office, and all these people are saying, "Hello, Mr. B, hello, Mr. B." I'm thinking, man, this guy's head of some huge organization. Hey, I hit the jackpot. So we walk, and we go around a corner, and we come to another office, and Mark walks out, and I hadn't met him yet, and he sees his partner, Mr. B, and he says, "Oh, great." And he grabs him by the arm, and he pulls him into his office and slams the door. So I'm standing there thinking, what the heck? So anyway, I hear some loud voices. A couple minutes later, Mr. B comes walking out, and he says, "Okay, see you later," and he leaves. So Mark comes out. He's got his hands on his hips, standing in the doorway of his office, and he says, "Okay, this is just great. Do you know how to use a computer?" Well, in 1984, very few people had computers. And I said, "No." And he said, "Oh, man." And I just looked at him, and I said, "What is your problem, dude? I'm here to do some typing." And he says, "Oh, so you do know how to type?" I said, "Well, yeah." So he takes me by the hand. He pulls me into his office. Now, the office was probably the size of a closet. There was 2 desks, a credenza, and a couch, and every possible space was full of stacks of paper and legal pads, handwritten notes on them everywhere. And then there was a computer. So he sits me down in front of the computer, and he hands me a stack of papers, and he says, "All right, start typing." I'm like, "Okay." So I started typing. Well, next thing I knew, it was 11:30 at night. We had typed and worked the whole night through. And all of a sudden he looked up, and he says, "Oh, my God, it's 11:30. He said, "Are you hungry?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." We went down the street. He bought me dinner. And I said, what is it that we're working on? Well, he had a speech coming up for, I think, the first annual Future Symposium that he had been invited to speak at. So he was formulating all his materials. And then he said, "Yeah, I'm writing a book on the psychology of trading." And I said, "Wow, I don't know what that is." He said, "That's right, no one does." And I said, "Okay." So we had our dinner, and he says, "Can you come back tomorrow?" And I said, "Sure." Well, needless to say, by January, I was working for him full-time. Mm-hmm. And the rest is history, because I fell in love with his mind, and then I was toast, as they say. It was all over.
Oh, I know.
He was so fascinating. I just,
Yeah, he was.
But
Do you
the kicker
remember
of the whole story that the reason I brought it up was, so he asked me to come work for him full-time in January, and he says, "I can't really pay you a lot." And I looked at him. I said, "You got this big-ass office. What are you talking about? You can pay me, a lot of money." And he said, I don't own this office. This little closet right here, I rent this space." And I looked at him. I'm like, "Oh, damn."
Paula, do you remember? Do you remember on the 4th of July in Chicago, when we had the air shows, and the planes would fly between the fighter jets would fly between the buildings, and the girls would have their phone numbers posted on the windows for the pilots?
Yes, and a lot of the gals also too were sunbathing, shall we say, au naturel for the pilots as well on the roof.
Oh boy, yeah, those were the old days, folks. Many years ago, Paula would put together seminars for Mark and I. We did 1 or 2 a year in Chicago, up in their penthouse. Well, we have to take a break, Paula. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances.
Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN has put together the finest live programming lineup each trading day, featuring some of the most knowledgeable and respected financial minds in the nation to educate traders and investors. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we broadcast 9 hours a day starting at 8 a.m. as John Logan kicks us off each trading day with the Global Market Pulse. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we broadcast 11 hours. Get an early and healthy start to your day as Nico and Paige bring you Living a Primal Lifestyle. Then catch Andy Hecht at 5 p.m. with the Commodities Hour, following the Tom O'Brien Show. Mondays and Fridays, catch live trading on the Nadex platform with host Tom and Tommy O'Brien, along with Daryl Martin on the Bull Bear Binary Option Hour. See the TFNN program lineup via the link on the front page of TFNN.com to get a complete overview of our TFNN shows and hosts. And keep TFNN's Tiger TV tuned in on your mobile device, PC, or Mac for the latest financial news and information throughout the broadcasting day. TFNN, educating investors.
Trading is different than investing, but the opportunity to take advantage of short-term trends is only one if you get the direction right. Direction leveraged and inverse ETFs offer bold trades on U.S. and international stocks and bonds. Direction leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Catch the Money Masters as they teach you the art of mastering money when it comes to trading and investing. Next on TFNN.
Okay, we're back, folks. We're talking with Paula Webb, the widow of my good and dear friend Mark Douglas. And Paula, you were planning to do some audio books last time we chatted. Is that still in the process?
Yes, it is. One of the things that I wanted to get out first was Mark and I had talked about updating his first book, The Disciplined Trader, to make it a little more accessible, shall we say, for lack of a better word, for today's traders. And I just finished that a month or two ago, and that book is called Becoming the Disciplined Trader. And it's really getting rave reviews because what I did was we took the original text of the book and then I added in real-life coaching examples and charts and that type of thing for today's trader who wasn't around, way back when you and I were, and so they'll really make the material more current, and so I wanted to get that done. The audio books, they take a bit of time because it's hard to record or to find the right person to record, but the original Disciplined Trader, Becoming the Disciplined Trader, The Complete Trader, all the new books are going to be put on audio books, and that's going to happen in the next year or so. So that's definitely at the top of the list. We're looking forward to doing that.
Now, Mark was doing. How many books have you written? You've written so darn many books. I've forgotten how many. You've got about.
I have 17 books and counting.
Wow, a lot of those are from the spiritual perspective from when you started out, wasn't it?
Well, my first book came out in 2002, and that was about relationships. Because that's basically what I was doing. At the time, I was coaching the spouses and partners of traders, helping them understand the mindset of a trader. As a lot of you guys or girls out there know, sometimes your spouse, if they're not a trader, they don't really get how you're approaching your business. And so that was what I was doing initially in terms of coaching. And that book was based on, it's called Creating Perfect Relationships. And that book was basically about my coaching clients at the time. The next book was Independent Prosperity, and that's where I really stepped into the field of the field of prosperity psychology. And it's a little bit different than trading psychology, because if you don't think prosperously, it doesn't matter what setups you get, you're still not going to see opportunity. So you need to have the psychological mindset of a winner, but you also need to feel like you're already prosperous. And so that's what most of the subsequent books are about. Success Without Fear, Championship Spirit, that kind of thing. It's all about believing in yourself. So yeah, it's kind of spiritual, but there are definitely practical applications in each one of the books for you to work on. Exercises, basically, like as if you were in a coaching session.
Well, you've certainly done a lot of that. Now, we did those, seminars together, Mark and I and you, back in we started with 90, didn't we start 93 or 94, 95? We did those for 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
And what was that building you lived in on Lakeshore Drive out on the... Yeah, but that was such a fabulous place for doing a seminar. Oh, my gosh. We had that whole penthouse area, and it was as lovely of a boardroom you'd ever want to see. And we would do them all week long, Monday through Friday, and we guaranteed everybody that we had to be profitable every day. I know Mark hated to do that, but it worked out well. We didn't have a losing day.
It's like, what if the market tanks? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's for sure. I remember one day we were going, on Friday we always went to Roditi's for a, wind-up dinner, you remember? And we were just barely profitable that day. And while we were having lunch, somebody came out and said something economically, and we happened to be, I think, long the S&P, and the market shot way up, and it ended up being a really great day. But if the report had been the other way, we would have been in trouble. But
that's right. I think that was one of our best workshops.
That's the hockey players. Yeah, we met the hockey players there from the 1980 team, which was a lot of fun. We met some baseball players and football players. We had some pretty and a lot of traders. My gosh, I mean, just having Robert St. John around us a lot. And he was
one of the biggest bond traders ever, I think.
He was in my office in Pismo Beach, and he traded 3,000 contracts in one day. And that was just a normal day. He was off the floor, so he didn't like trading a small size, and that was 3,000 contracts.
Yeah, he's not exaggerating, guys. These are facts. He was fascinating.
Yeah, he made millions of dollars, that's for sure. So many memories, Paula, as we talked. Remember when OJ, when he had the results of the trial came back, and we having that big party up in your condo?
Yes, and we all ran downstairs to our apartment to wait for the verdict.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and Paula cooked about 2 pounds of bacon, and while we were waiting, Robert St. John was a little guy. He was only like 5'6", and he looked like 140 pounds when he was soaking wet. He ate he ate all of it, all 2 pounds himself.
Yeah, because I used to cater the workshops because we lived in the building. And so I would cater the workshops, except for the last night, and then when we would all go out. And so I had been downstairs, and I cooked the bacon, and then they came downstairs, and I turn around, the plate's empty.
Yeah.
And I look around, and Robert St. John's got he's got his cheeks full, and I'm like, "Where's the bacon?" He's like, "Oh, well, you have more, right? I thought that was for me."
You made him
you
go
can take the farm out of the boy, but you can't take the boy out of the farm, I guess.
Oh, amen to that. And we had so much fun in Pismo Beach too. Boy, those were really a lot of fun times that we went through. And listen, I had a couple other questions. Can you join us again in another hour?
Sure.
Yeah, good, because I'd like to do that and just to understand that, just to see what's going on. One other question that do you do any trading anymore? I know you did at one time, but I don't know if you've since you moved. I don't know if you've done any more trading.
Yeah, I've become an investor now. I just don't have the time for day trading because, literally I want to get all these materials out to the trading community. That was, Mark and I had a schedule, and I'm trying to do my best to keep with it. Obviously, I'm a little behind due to the circumstances last year, but so I really, my intent is to get the novel out, get his other, our joint projects out. And so day trading kind of had to be taken off the table because I couldn't add that into the mix. But I am investing. I do invest in stocks. Primarily, I invest in green stocks and, kind of keeping, trying to help the environment here. And, and that was always my first passion. When I was younger, my dad would come home and he'd have the Wall Street Journal, and it was a game with us. He'd say, pick a stock and tell me if you think it's going up or down. So I'd read it for the week, and I'd pick a stock. I'd say about 55% of the time I was right. And so, but we never invested in it. It was just a game between him and I. And so I always liked the stock market. So that's where I'm back. I'm back to my roots, is trading the stock market.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for being on our show today. We'll have you on again at the half hour here. And then one thing you ought to think about doing is putting on another workshop like you did before. And if you need somebody to help you, I'd certainly do it. We've got to find a good place where it's nice and cool. No one wants to go with 119 or 100. It's going to be 111 here in Tucson today. So anyway, It's going to be really interesting. I just want to thank you for coming on, and we'll have some information. How's the best ways to reach you, Paula?
You can go through my website, www.paulatweb.com.
Okay, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, so we're going to put the chart of the Dow Jones Industrial Average along with the picture of the Bradley model over it. And as you can see, we had a Bradley date occurring on the 19th. Here we are on the 22nd. Whether this is going to be a high for the next 4 or 5 weeks like it says it is, will have to remains to be seen, but that's what we're watching right now. We've had a little bit of an up move in crude oil this morning, but it's quite early, and in fact it's quite early is the understatement of the. We've only just opened the stocks about 20 minutes ago, and basically the market stocks are down just a hair. I mean, very, very small amount this early in the morning. Not much going on. Remember that we have a full moon in perigee tomorrow. So if there's any bottoms or tops that are going to be formed, I would think from the commodity standpoint, not so much from stocks, but these commodities have been going down quite a bit, especially the grain markets. And so you want to keep an eye on soybeans and wheat. And also, wheat is down now, more than 15 cents, down about 13 cents from its high, and if it gets down about 20 cents, it's probably going to be one to look at to be a buyer here, coming into a full moon with perigee on the December wheat, because we made that beautiful head and shoulders pattern, and there should be really strong support in that December wheat if it's good. And I mean, and that's the bottom line, and that's down about 7 cents, around 488 to 490 a bushel in December wheat. If it's any good, it's not going to go any lower than that. That's the 61% retracement off the last low. It's the breakout of the last high that we had on June the 8th. So that's what you'd be watching here in the wheat, but that would be for tomorrow and not for today. And then, of course, on November beans, we want to be watching those at around 425. The problem is they're trading at 424 right now, so they're down a penny from the perfect price we would like to see, but not the perfect time. It's not till tomorrow. 877-927-6648.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.